I do not mind buying an ugly mobile home park. And here's why. Like anytime in real estate, whenever there's a distressed asset, it could be any kind of distressed. Tall grass, bills aren't being paid, back taxes, ownership issues, you name it, right? That's where a lot of really good opportunity lies. Even if you're not in parks, even if you're in single family, whatever you're in. However, you need to be able to fix those problems. You can't buy it for a good deal and let the problems keep going, because then you're going to be, they're just passing the buck off to you. You're going to be in the same situation. All right, so I don't mind buying parks that have these issues, like infill issues, tons of vacant lots, bad management, no management, infrastructure issues, you name it. The more stuff like that, the better the deal you can get, all right? Because there's pressure on that owner to get rid of that deal. For whatever reason, they weren't able to keep up with it. And if you are able to, it's great to look at. If you're not, you can wholesale it or get a partner that help you. It's usually a capital issue, all right? Most of the time when I see these parks that have these issues, the park owner ran out of capital, right? They just don't have the partner or the equity relationships or whatever, So, like, I've bought a park that had, over 90 vacant spots. Pretty cool. But they were trying to charge for all the spots like they were, occupied. And there's different ways to look at that, but really I'm only buying stuff based off the income it brings in. That's it. Because if not, I know a lot of people could look at this different, but I have to protect my downside, meaning how can this go wrong? What can go wrong with this project? How do I lose money? Old mentor taught me that, and like on this one, for example, tons of vacant spots. How do I fill them? Well, it's the infrastructure there, right? Meaning, can I just tap into the water lines, the sewer lines, the electrical, or am I going to have to add infrastructure? That one with the 90 spots, I had to add infrastructure for every time we put a home in. It takes deep pockets, right? So in that instance, I know that I need a strong capital partner, right? Which is what I did. And when I presented the deal, I'm like, hey, I am going to need a lot of money, right? As we go. To buy it, obviously, isn't cheap, relative. But, to add these things isn't going to be cheap. We're going to do it in phases. And I believe I can do it because I've done it multiple times. This is just on a very large scale, right? So that being said, those sellers were in really big distress. They had a property management company, but they didn't do a good job collecting rent. They had people drop cashier's checks through a mail slip, and they lived 4 hours away, and then most of the time people weren't paying. It was a big cluster, right? So I cleaned up that operation day one. I use Appfolio. It's a digital payment service, big, everybody knows it, credible. If you have I think over 50 units, you're eligible, right? I don't think it's cheap, but it's great. So anyways, day one, I'm like, hey, y'all have one option to pay, and it's through your tenant portal. Now, in your tenant portal, you have options to pay at a gas station or with cash somehow. I don't know how they do it. Some slips, or you just, pay through the portal with bank, credit card, whatever. That's it. You have one option, and people balked, screamed. Some people left. I'm like, cool, see ya. We don't take cash. We don't take checks. We don't take money orders. I don't do any of that. It's all digital, right? Solve that issue day one, which adds a ton of value, right? Because now we're not chasing collections. Then we did a ton of evictions, right? So they were just tired, right? Tired landlords. They tried to evict people, but they live far away, and it was just a whole mess, which, that is an issue, because, can be an issue, because we manage these things virtually too, but a lot of people don't know you can use a handyman to put the notice on the door, You can do a lot of evictions through Zoom. You can hire a handyman to go sit in the eviction for you, which we do all the time. People think it's crazy, but we just send them with all the paperwork. Beats the hell out of using expensive ass attorney. I'm not a lawyer. This isn't legal advice. I'm just telling you what I do, what I've done, my experience. You do what you're gonna do. I just love documenting, this kind of stuff because I think it can help a younger me, right? That wants to get in this, that wants to do well at this, that maybe wants to skip some of the lessons and just learn them here, right? And I don't know everything, but I can tell you what I do know, what I've learned, and my experience. So, they had that collection issue. Next step is they had a utility. They had all the issues, right? And we bought this just over $1 million, but it's a 140 unit park. So it should be. That's a lot of upside potential. Very low economic area, hard to lose, right? When you buy stuff at like land value, which I'm cool with. But you need a strong value add operator. You need a strong equity partner. All that. Luckily, I do the management, property management, because we have a company. I do the value add. I do all of it except the capital part. So that's where that's why it was good for them. They're like, damn, this could be really good. But anyway, these people had utility issues, right? Like the sewer lines are cast iron, and if you've ever ran into that, it's expensive to change those out. We're doing it pad by pad, which is okay. I've got people that can do it now. Water taps aren't on surface, so they all got to be located and found. Just crazy ass stuff. What else did they have? They had utility issues, they had collection issues, they had vacancy issues. So also another thing is people that they were putting in the park, they had these old ass trailers and they're just putting whoever in there. And the reason they had collection issues also is I don't believe they were screening. And the way we'll screen these tenants is they must make 3 times rent per month. I don't really care what their credit is. I know a lot of people do. I don't care. Lower economic families, they might have ran through some hard times. That's why I'm here. All right, make 3 times rent per month and never been evicted. If you ever been evicted, you ain't renting from me. You're not buying anything from me. You're not doing any of that. It doesn't mean anything. You could have changed and that, whatever. But I'm just not doing it because history tends to repeat itself. People do change. People do get in better situations. I don't want to find out. So I don't allow evictions. And I didn't used to have this step, but now I'm like, hey, let me talk to the people. And I'll call and just see how they are real quick. Seems to, you get that vibe about people. Not that I can make decisions based off of purely that or anything like that. I like to talk to them, make sure we're on the same page. I also like to set the boundaries and the ground rules. I'm like, hey, I know they're going to send you a lease. It's going to say all this stuff, but up front, you've got a 5-day grace period. We charge, a late fee whenever you miss that. Then you get charged every single day. And we do post notices. We do evict. We do run a clean place, right? We want good people, good communities. Everybody helps everybody. Do your part, pay your bills, keep your place clean, right? We all have a great community to live in. I think all these things just really add up, and I think they're overlooked. But when you're looking for a distressed property, that being said, and these people are behind on property taxes. All of them, right? They're behind on property taxes, which was okay because they ended up having to pay them when we closed on the park, right? They got their money and closed on the park and whatever. So when you're looking for parks, I like looking for that stuff. And you can ask them, are they behind on taxes? Or you can see, you can just see, is there tons of vacancies? Is it just trashed? You could talk to the park manager. How do you like this place? Talk to people there. How do you like this place? What's good and bad? Find out all this stuff. Ask the sellers. Because most of the good deals you get, they're going to be off market. So you're not going to have this OM or offering, flyer saying all the stuff about it. If you do, you're going to be competing with everybody. You're probably not getting a deal. To say that, you can get a deal off market, but it's really tough for just obvious reasons. So you're going to be looking off market. So go drive some parks, right? And pull up a list on like Google Maps and go drive these parks and be like, damn, like this one's got some vacancy. I wonder what's going on. Talk to the park manager. Y'all having trouble filling this up? You know, why? You know, they don't put any money in anything and all that. What is that? You know, think about that. What does that mean? It's like, cool. Well, do you think they'd ever sell this thing? Which, not the best thing to ask a park manager because they don't want to lose their job, but you can ask. A lot of times they'll be like, probably not. But some of them, like, yeah, whatever, you know. But skip trace the owners, you know. Hey, saw your park, freaking love it. Like, tell them the things you like about it. I like that you had half the thing filled up. I see a lot of potential looking for my next project. You know, what's up? Are you looking to sell? And if they are, it's like, I noticed there were some vacant spots, you know, like, why is there so much vacancy? If you had some trouble, just let them talk, you know. And then, are you still putting money into this thing? You're kind of just collecting, you know, as is, and let them talk. You know, most likely they're just collecting as is, and it's like, oh yeah, these things get expensive. You're out of capital, or how's that look? And they'll be like, yeah, we're actually behind on this because of this, and just let them, you know, ask the questions and let them spill the beans. So I like looking for expired mobile home parks a lot, you know, and mobile home park store is a good spot for that. But the trick is when you like Google it, you have to Google like expired mobile home parks, your county, and then mobile home park store after that. You can find it through there, but it's kind of hard. And it might pull up expired mobile home parks from years ago too, but that's okay, because at some point they raised their hand and they wanted to sell their park. So that's a distress right there. If it's expired, that's one of the distress points. They tried to sell and they couldn't. Why couldn't they sell? You know, 9 times out of 10, they wanted too much money, right? But after something expires and people test the market, things change. All right, so I hope this helped y'all, and if it did, please refer a friend. This is the Property Profits Podcast. You follow me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I've got my YouTube we're constantly posting on now, so give that some love too. It's, you know, you're getting a lot of this content. It's all free. If it helps you, great. I love it. Leave a comment. Let me know it helped you. Leave questions below. If you really need to get a hold of me, Facebook you can DM me on Facebook. I answer those. I also have a park mentorship starting in the next, I think in 5 weeks, and it's to get your first park. If you want to buy your first park, you're ready to do it already, and you've been kind of just consuming and don't really know what actions to take, or maybe you have been taking actions, but they're not leading to anything, not fruitful. You can apply to do this thing. You know, it's not cheap, relative. I always say relative because I think it's super cheap. You know, for me to teach you to have your first park and make a ton of money and build wealth for you and your family. You know, I think it's super cheap price, but the price tag, you know, hits some people, but it is what it is. Anyways, thank you again, and until the next one, we'll see you then.